Hi guys, I'm Nishid and I'm an Android app developer. I'm an enthusiast programmer. Also, I love technology. So today I'll be sharing you about information about the Android P and its launches. So it's named as an Android Pie. So let's get started. The version of the has gone through the final stages and its development from the today we see the finished version is available for the Pixel owners, so they can enjoy. Also, Android One owner will get the update and it has a lot of improvement. Let's start with the big one. Android navigation bar gets the biggest change in 7 years. The recent key is gone and back key is also there but a little smaller, and the thing new gesture navigation is now come from the iPhone. And speaking, standard buttons aren't going away over the when current Pixel phones they will update, they will stick to the old 3 buttons setup. You will have to option out if you want to new gesture based arrangement on future Google phones. Gesture navigation will be the default. Future phones it will be the default, but other manufacturers shipping devices on Android Pie will be able to whichever they want. It's easy to look from some of the changes and say Google is chasing iPhone. It's particular certain extent that's true. Google wants to sell Android phone as just like ideally like iPhone, and their Pixel phones owners from this year's onwards all of the people will have iPhone 10 muscle memory with the swipe up and back gesture home screen or switch apps with the gesture navigation on Android Pie will work a little differently. So they have to recent apps will now scroll horizontally when they swipe up, and particular application when they tap on the home button, which they also can swipe up. When they type up, they will tap on the home button. They will brought to the home screen. Android Launcher is now also able to show the specific actions within the apps based on your usage. That could be contact particular like a podcast or a music player or something based on your activity, whatever you are using. It will be there will be a floating action above your application. Similar feature also called slicers, which was introduced in I/O. So it is more rich functionality from the Google search bar. We will see more as the app start to update support features of Android Pie. Back gesture through the most useful part of the new home button is now quickly you can hop between the apps, which was a recent button and now it's a home button. So when you double tap on the recent button in older devices, you switch between the apps will be now used with the home button, and manual rotation will be given when you can rotate if you want to on the navigation buttons. Animation, also responsiveness, and these are really small things which are noticeably you can use. It's really hard to find each and every things, but flourishing are more useful, quicker than before. The whole UI together more polished and improved. Also, the pulling down notification screen lock just flows better, feels more fluent on Pixel devices. The lock screen ambience display is more informative, showing you the battery charge level and upcoming events for your calendar. Basically, at the glance, would you from the Pixel not lives on your home screen, but these 2 new places as well notification are getting smarter. To Android Pie will show inline predictive replies notification. Can also show more information in inline, like last few messages of the conversation or a photo in a correct context. The visual side of the Android has been given significant improvement, influenced by the Google's new material design, and next stage evolution of material design is also interesting. Also improved design language for the Google's individual. These small changes are noticeable also. So Pixel 2 we will see in, and closer to, if you have used the Pixel 2 before, then Android Pie won't overwhelm you with the new visuals, but Pie is clearly taking us closer to the Google's material design. The future is heavier use of Google font and a whole lot of white, and also big focus on rounded icons. Places like setting app and quick settings drop down, we will see the rounded icons. All the apps that change are likely to kick in around that Pixel 3 launches. At the same time, don't necessarily expect some more of the googly design touches we see here on the Pixel phones, like rounded corners in the notification area and quick settings to come to other phones once they have upgraded. Every manufacturer will have their own tech UI, but many of the other UI changes aren't just about looking prettier, but making Android easier and simpler to use. Volume rocker now controls the media volume by default, reflecting the fact that phone calls are now very secondary function of our phones, and the slider is easier to reach from the one hand opposed to the popping up top of the screen. Android Pie also adds support for the notches, an important change to avoid apps that are not working with the phone's cutout not just going away anytime soon. In fact, Pixel 3 XL probably have the pretty sizable notch itself, but knowing that where cutouts begin and end means app can scale intelligently around it and make sure nothing important is blocked by the cutouts. That's a big deal for a phone like a OnePlus 6 is a part of Android 9 beta program, and so should be the fast tracked for upgradable. And it means that more phones ship with the notches in 2019. App compatibility shouldn't be a problem. Things have had to move around from the top of the screen to the clock now reallocate over the left side of the status bar, ensuring there is a room for the notches. So this is a big historic change for Android as a new experience. It is very easy to adjust. Seems like every year Google talks about Android battery life improvements, but actually adaptive battery might be now changing with Android machine learning to manage power-based battery consumption. Battery incentive apps are also now tuned with the unusual way they are draining battery. It's a big change for an older approach Oreo, where you would just bug persistent notification. Google shows that battery has been draining, but now in Android Pie it will be managed by the AI. What's around is a digital well-being program. Actually extends the whole Google is not just in Android, but in also the Google is also making our life healthier. So for example, Android now do not disturb is now more smarter. The notification will completely turn off during this session of do not disturb. Initial release of the Android Pie will come in Pixel phones, and we will see that how it will be turned out, and we will see all the updates. The Android 9 will be rolling out in a separate beta soon for other Android One phones, so we will see how it will perform in the phones of their segment and Android Pixel segment. In the future update of Android will allow us to break down how you are using your screen time and set limits how much you can use a certain app for each day. This stuff isn't in the initial release of 9.0, but will be rolling out in a separate beta soon. Now here are some quick features that don't really fit in anywhere, but kind of interesting. So dual camera support for the front and rear for the first time from the Android 9. So developers can make interesting apps with the front dual camera and the rear dual camera. The API is now accessible for Android 9 from 9.0 Android, and a little bit of privacy is also improved. So now apps or developers can really access the camera when app is running in the background, or the microphone is not also accessible for the apps to run in which run in background. Also, the new lockdown mode is introduced, so the pen or input of the finger is required, not the fingerprint will not work, so you have to manually unlock the phone. Is a lockdown mode. How it's let's see how it works. Also, there are more of the 150 emojis which are gender neutral are introduced. And suppose if you are in a room or a airport or a mall, the positioning and location finding is easier with the Wi-Fi positioning, so you won't be lost in a mall or anywhere else. You will get a good location signal everywhere. The satellites will find easily your location. The Android P update will be rolling out of the Pixel from today, and for Android 1 then they are planning for the beta testing. The beta testers will have this update in next few weeks, and let's see how this performs very well. Thank you guys. Please like, share and subscribe the video, and let us know how you think about the video in comments below.